The world thinks that the Nazis have been defeated long ago, but they have been hiding on the moon all this time, and now they are ready for their next move. In 2018, an American mission arrives on the moon, manned by astronauts Sanders and James Washington. The lander touches down on the surface of the moon and deploys banners for the current president's election campaign, revealing that this entire mission is one big publicity stunt. Sanders scans the region and informs Mission Control back on Earth that he is getting strong readings of a precious element called helium-3. Radio communication is interrupted for a second, and this message doesn't get through. Sanders looks up and is shocked to see an entire helium-3 mine where thousands of people are working. He turns around to tell James about this, and behind him, another astronaut emerges, who is wearing a Nazi swastika over a Nazi uniform. The Nazi astronaut shoots Sanders, and realizing that he is in trouble, James runs toward the lander. However, before he can reach, the Nazis blow up the lander with a rocket launcher. James is captured. Next, it is revealed that the Nazis have established something akin to a small city on the moon with a significant population. In a classroom, a woman named Renate teaches Nazi children about the history of this establishment, and it is revealed that the Nazis arrived on the dark side of the moon in 1945. Renate tells the children that they have to learn English for when they return to Earth, because they'll need it to save mankind. Next, the Nazi astronaut that shot Sanders is revealed to be a senior officer named Klaus Adler, next in line to be the leader of the Moon Nazis. He brings James to the current leader of the Moon Nazis, Wolfgang. As they remove his helmet, they are surprised to see that he is a black man. Since these Nazis left Earth in 1945, they are still very much influenced by the science of their time, which declared black people as lesser human beings. Hence, they are surprised that a black man would be made an astronaut. On Earth, the current president of the United States lashes out at her campaign manager, Vivian, because their plan to use the lunar mission to get her re-elected has gone down in flames with the failure of the mission. She angrily orders Vivian to find a way to fix this. She asks the Secretary of Defense why they decided to send the lunar mission in the first place, and he replies that they thought a lunar mission with a black astronaut would look good. On the moon, Renate shows her students just a 10-minute sequence of the Charlie Chaplin movie, The Great Dictator, where he plays with a globe. She claims that this is the entire movie, and it depicts the ultimate dream of having the entire world in the gentle hands of Hitler. She genuinely believes it too. Just then, Klaus arrives in the class, and it is revealed that he and Renate are romantically involved. He tells her that they have caught an Earthling, and her expertise is required. James makes an attempt at escaping by knocking out the Nazis with his helmet and jumping off a platform, but he ends up falling down several stories straight into some vents. He comes out of the vents at the place where Klaus and Renate are walking and knocks out Klaus by dropping a grate on his head. He looks for a way out and spots a large door, but unbeknownst to him, what he is about to open is the airlock to the entire facility. Renate tries to stop him, but he doesn't listen. As the airlock opens, both of them are almost sucked out of the facility, but James manages to hold on, and he grabs Renate's hand as she is about to fly out. However, he can't stop her clothes from coming off due to the air pressure, and she is stripped down to her underwear. With sheer strength, James manages to pull her in and gets in himself to close the airlock. Like the gentleman he is, he tells her to cover up. Klaus arrives and punches James in the face. He proceeds to point a gun at James, but Renate stops him, saying that they need James alive to run tests on him. James also pleads his case by saying that he knows the President of the United States, so he could be useful to them. The guards take James to the laboratory, where Renate's father, Dr. Richter, examines him. Klaus asks James about the instrument that Sanders was using to look for helium-3, and James replies that he doesn't know anything because he is just a model that was hired for this publicity stunt simply because he is black. Klaus finds James's phone and asks what it is, and James replies that it is basically a small computer. Dr. Richter, who is clearly still working with technology from 1945, points to a large contraption and says that this is what a computer looks like. But James laughs and says that that is ancient history. The Secretary of Defense arrives at the United World Confederacy to speak to the representatives of the other nations. He informs them about the failure of the U.S. lunar mission, and the other nations suspect that the U.S. wouldn't simply send a mission to the moon for the re-election of their president. It is too expensive. They suspect that the mission had a military purpose. An Arab representative also suspects that the U.S. went to the moon looking for resources like helium-3. The Secretary of Defense denies all these claims. Vivian angrily scolds her entire team because none of them can come up with a way to save the president's re-election campaign. Meanwhile, Klaus proposes marriage to Renate because the Department of Racial Purity has discovered they have a 96% DNA match. Renate is looking for romance, but Klaus says that it is their duty to produce the perfect Aryan offspring. He says that he plans to overthrow Wolfgang soon and become the leader of the Nazis, and Renate's place in all this will be by his side. Next, Dr. Richter figures out that James' phone has more computing power than the biggest computers they have, and he decides to use it to run the biggest warship ever created, a project that the Nazis have been working on since 1945. He connects the phone to the warship's main computer, and his plan works. The warship starts running. Unfortunately, the phone runs out of battery. Klaus tells Wolfgang that this will work, and all he needs to do is go to Earth and bring more of these devices so that they can begin their invasion of Earth. Wolfgang is hesitant to give him permission because no one has ever returned alive from an Earth mission, but Klaus insists that he will. Renate arrives to meet James, who is being forced to listen to Hitler's speeches so that he can be indoctrinated into being a Nazi. She stops the speeches to speak to him. He requests her to free him, but she just advises him to act like a Nazi, because if he doesn't, he will be eliminated. Just then, Dr. Richter arrives and gives James a serum that promotes albinism in the body. Next, Klaus prepares to take off for his mission to Earth. Renate suggests that she go with him, because she knows so much about Earth, but he laughs it off. Dr. Richter arrives with James and shows that the serum worked, and he is a white man now. As per Renate's advice, James acts like a Nazi, and Klaus decides to take him along, as he will be useful on Earth. They get into the spaceship and arrive on Earth in New York, where Klaus learns that Renate snuck onto the ship as well. He tells James that he has no intention of stealing any phones, and asks him to take them to the president instead. They walk around New York looking for a ride, and spot one next to some black men playing basketball. James suggests that he deal with this situation because these are his people, but he is not aware that he is a white man now. He gets chased off by the black men, while Renate and Klaus steal the van. He runs and jumps inside the van and learns the truth upon looking into the mirror. He is not happy with it. Next, James advises Klaus and Renate to kidnap Vivian, because she is closest to the president. But as soon as they have Vivian, they get rid of James. Klaus tells Vivian about the imminent arrival of the Nazi forces and explains that they are going to eliminate all those who don't agree with them. Renate, who teaches the virtuous propaganda of the National Socialist Party to the children, doesn't understand why Klaus is saying this. Klaus has an idea, and he lets her speak. Renate gives Vivian the propaganda speeches she has been taught about how the Nazis are going to heal the world through virtue and kindness and whatnot. Vivian gets an idea of her own. She gets them new uniforms and brings them to the president. She shows the president Renate's propaganda speech, and the president is impressed. In the following months, Renate writes propaganda speeches for the president, thinking that she is actually spreading the peaceful message of the party, and the president performs those speeches, resulting in a great rise in her popularity. Sometime later, Renate meets James on the street, who is homeless now, and trying to warn the people about the moon Nazis. James is angry with her, and she doesn't understand why. She thinks that they did him a great favor by making him white, but he says that they stole his identity. Renate notices that the great dictator is playing in a theater and offers to show it to James in order to explain her point. However, this is the first time that she sees the full version of the movie and realizes that all her propaganda-based beliefs are false. She is shaken. Klaus and Vivian are vigorously making love, and during it, Klaus reveals that his plan is to kill the president, take control of her troops, kill Wolfgang, take control of his troops, and then invade Earth with both armies. Unbeknownst to him, Wolfgang is sitting in the room and hears the whole thing. He asks a guard to take Vivian to another room and kill her. He reveals that he has begun the invasion of Earth already. Just then, Renate arrives with James and renounces her Nazi beliefs in front of Klaus. Wolfgang is about to shoot all of them when Vivian emerges from the other room with a gun and kills Wolfgang and his guards. She reveals that she tricked the guard by offering to touch his pickle. It's understandable that he'd take that offer. Klaus tries to shoot Renate and James, but they run out. He grabs a tablet and heads out as well. Klaus gets in a spaceship and heads to the moon, while ordering the Nazi ships to begin the invasion of Earth. The president is excited at all this, because being a wartime president pretty much guarantees her re-election. The war begins. Renate tells James that they need to get to the moon and stop the mega warship from becoming operational. James wants no part of it, but Renate says that she's recently learned she is no hero and she needs his help in this. They find and get in the spaceship that they first arrived in and head to the moon. The President and the Secretary of Defense arrive at the United World Confederacy to collaborate with other countries for Earth's defense. They reveal that the United States has had a secret warship in space for a while now, for a situation just like this. Other countries reveal that they have space warships too, and the President is enraged that they all violated the International Space Peace Treaty. They point out that the U.S. did the same, but the President replies that the U.S. always violates treaties. It's what they do. They agree to deal with this later because right now, armed spaceships are needed for the war. Klaus prepares to activate the mega warship with the tablet, and Renate and James arrive there as well. They decide to split up. Renate says that she will stop Klaus, while James should head to Dr. Richter and paralyze the engine by removing the tablet. Before parting ways, they admit their feelings for one another. Meanwhile, the U.S. space warship bombs the Nazi fortress on the moon, killing innocent citizens. Klaus orders to start the engine of the mega warship, while James arrives at the control room and knocks out Dr. Richter. The mega warship rises out of the ground, and it is revealed to be truly enormous. Klaus orders that they fire at the Earth, but he is informed that the Earth is on the other side of the moon's horizon. He uses the cannons of the ship on the moon, which are so powerful that they destroy the horizon, revealing the Earth. Dr. Richter gets back up and fights James, but as he is about to shove a drill into James's brain, Renate plays the Nazi national anthem all over the ship, and the Nazis are compelled to perform a salute. This allows James to defeat Dr. Richter. Meanwhile, Klaus sends his men to find who played the anthem, but Renate sneaks into the room from behind and points a gun at him, right as he is about to shoot at the Earth. A fight ensues between the two, which ends with Renate shoving her sharp heel into Klaus' brain and killing him. Meanwhile, James finally manages to remove the tablet, causing the mega warship to collapse into the moon. Both Renate and James manage to get off the ship in escape pods before it crashes. The American warship notices large tanks of helium-3 on the moon, and the Secretary of Defense tells her to claim those in the name of America, because it would fulfill America's energy needs for 1,000 years. The representatives of other nations are outraged at this, and a fight breaks out in the room. Consequently, a war breaks out between all the space warships of different countries as well. Renate arrives at the fortress, disheartened by all the destruction around her. She teaches the innocent citizens to denounce the Nazi ways. Just then, James arrives in the room, and he is back to being a black man, because he found a de-albinizing serum. The two share a passionate kiss, while a woman objects to their union. Renate understands she still has a lot to teach these people. Meanwhile, it is revealed that nuclear war has broken out on Earth over the control of helium-3. Humanity continues to fall victim to its greedy and destructive ways. The end. Thank you for watching. Be sure to like our channel and subscribe if you enjoy content like this. Also, let us know what movie you would love us to recap for you.